For the love of grammar. Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Timo.
We're blogging out today about...
We're blogging out today about the recent news that Lucasfilm was bought by Disney, and
you think you know what I think about it.
I want to see what he thinks about it. We have not talked about this yet, and I'm dying to know what he thinks about it.
But you think you already know?
Maybe.
All right, well...
So for those of you that don't know, on last Tuesday, Disney bought Lucasfilm for $4-point-something billion. That included Lucasfilm, ILM, which is the effects house. It includes LucasArts, which I think is all the games.
Right.
Basically, it includes everything except for THX, which was spun off into its own company like 10 years ago. So Disney owns all of that stuff now, which is kind of crazy.
Right.
But it seems very similar to the deal that they made a few years ago when they bought Marvel. But the second piece of information that we're going to cover as well, of course, is that not only did Disney buy Lucasfilm, but they're producing episode 7, 8, and 9.
Right.
So that was sort of a 1-2 punch of news for the world of geekery.
Right.
All my friends were like, oh my God, the swirl and
like,
the like,
oh my God, or oh my God.
Like all of the above. I was very excited to hear that Disney was buying Lucasfilm. I think it's going to ensure the longevity of the franchise, that we might see some other stuff after George Lucas passes away or retires and doesn't really want anything else to do. It will keep going, and I think that makes a lot of people, happy, or it makes a lot of people kind of cringe. As for the episode 7 announcement, I called that a mile away. I said that 8 years ago when George Lucas, right around the time that episode 3 was wrapping, he said, like, never doing them again. There is no episode 7, 8, and 9. It's never going to happen. We're not going to do it. Like, there was this big announcement, and it was very controversial amongst the people in the forums that I knew at the time and stuff. And I was saying, like, guys, he's going to do it. Of course he's going to do it. Somebody's going to do it. I mean, even if it's his kids when he dies, somebody's going to make these episodes. They're like, no. He said he's not going to do it. And I'm like, he said a lot of things. Like, he said Ewan McGregor was not going to play Obi-Wan Kenobi. He said that they weren't going to make any changes to DVDs and stuff, and all of those things ended up happening. So I was
Jar Jar Binks was going to be a total douche.
Right, and he was.
He was.
And he was. Overall, I was very happy about it, and I'm looking forward to it. What are your thoughts?
I don't really care that much.
You don't really care?
No.
Yeah. See, I figured.
Was that what you were expecting?
No, a little bit, yeah. I think I was expecting you to not really care that much, but to sort of be like, please, no more movies that suck like the prequels. Because you're not a big fan of the prequels, are you?
I don't think that's going to happen, because if George Lucas isn't as involved, they're going to have a better writing staff and they're going to have better production.
I mean, I like the prequels to one level or another. To me, they were all better than Return of the Jedi anyway, so what the hell's the point of getting all fired up about how bad they were? There's things in every Star Wars movie that I don't like. Even the esteemed Empire Strikes Back, there are things that I don't like. So, I mean, I was sort of like, on one hand, I was sort of happy with them. On the other hand, I can see the criticisms of the directing. I can see the criticisms of the writing. This time around, having Kathleen Kennedy executive produce this thing, that means she's the one that decides who's going to direct it. She's the one that decides who's going to write it. George isn't going to direct it, and George isn't going to write the screenplays. And that leaves him to do what he's really good at, which is come up with good underlying stories that are creative and interesting themes. And I sort of feel like George Lucas is saying, okay, for better or for worse, whatever I've done, I've created this sort of textured world, this sandbox, and he's sort of stepping back to the point where other directors and other writers can come play in his sandbox again.
Right.
Because, of course, he didn't write or direct Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi anyway.
Right.
And some would say that not writing and directing Empire Strikes Back is one of the things that made it as good as it was. Disney has also said that they are interested, if things are successful, of producing a new Star Wars film every 2 to 3 years for
forever.
Yeah.
I just heard, like, when I heard that there was going to be there was rumors way back in the day about 7, 8, 9. So 7, 8, 9, I was like, cool, I'd like to see where it goes.
I was actually kind of surprised that even people that I know that didn't really care for the prequels kind of reacted that way.
Yeah.
And I think kind of, for me too, that's kind of how I've reacted, because, I'm not as passionately into Star Wars as I used to be, and yet I'm still sort of like, hey, this could be really cool. Right?
Especially with a bunch of new faces attached.
What about bringing back old faces like Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher?
Yeah, aren't they a little bit too old now for...
I think it really depends on,
like, where it's going to be in the future. Of
exactly, and we have no idea. I mean, they haven't released any details other than to say
I would love to see, like, Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill and all those people back their parts.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, I think that the idea of, you know, Luke as an old Jedi handing his lightsaber down to a new young generation would be really cool. They haven't really given any details, but they have said that this is an original story. This is not based on any of the books, any of the expanded universe. This is going to be new, original story. And, you know, I mean, going on the supposition that Mark Hamill's going to be involved specifically, he's like the same age that Alec Guinness was when he shot the first Star Wars film,
right.
you know, Episode 4. So, you know, it would have to be at least 40 to 50 years after Return of the Jedi to explain why, you know, Luke is 65 years old, you know.
What I would really like is for Disney to release the original theatrical versions on Blu-ray.
You know, that's really funny that you mentioned that. That's been, in the discussions I've had, that's come up many, many times. And I think considering the whole From the Disney Vault thing and bringing out, they haven't just brought out old releases of old films. They've actually gone back and painstakingly and very expensively restored these old films. So I kind of agree with you. I mean, like, I prefer the special editions, but I think that film history is film history, and you've got to keep it, you know. So this would be a great opportunity to see Disney do that, I think.
Yep, I think so.
So tell us your thoughts on this, you know, what you like, what you don't like. Tell us what stories from the expanded universe you guys might like to see as like a mini-series, because I think the Thrawn trilogy, the Timothy Zahn books, would make a really cool like HBO mini-series. Tell us your thoughts on Disney. Tell us your thoughts on Lucasfilm being bought. Tell us your thoughts on Episode 7, because it's some pretty big entertainment news, and I for sure didn't see the whole Disney thing coming, so...
Let us know what you think. Subscribe, like, comment.
Excellent.
And we'll be around.
Bye.